Give us my chol, give us my chol, give us my chol, give a smile. Give us my chol, give us my chol, be the reason someone smiles. Give us my chol, give us my chol, give us my chol, give a smile. Give us my chol, give us my chol, be the reason someone smiles. Give us my chol, give us my chol, give us my chol, give a smile. Give us my chol, give us my chol, be the reason someone smile. Give us my chol, give us my chol, give us my chol, give a smile. Give us my chol, give us my chol, be the reason someone smiles. Siva gedola, liyot liyot besimcha. Siva gedola, liyot liyot besimcha. Siva gedola, liyot liyot besimcha. Siva gedola, liyot besimcha. Siva gedola, liyot 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 besimcha. Be the reason someone smiles. 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 Siva gedola, liyot besimcha. Siva gedola, liyot liyot besimcha. Siva gedola, liyot liyot besimcha. Siva gedola, liyot besimcha. Be the reason someone smiles. 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 Be the reason someone smiles.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Breakfast with Elli.
Mode ani lefanecha melech chai v'kayam shechazarta bi nishmati bechemla raba emunatecha.
From the Choral Synagogue of Moscow, we wish you good Shabbos!
בין קודש
Good morning. Good Vach Shavua Tova. Good week. Welcome to Breakfast with Elli. It's Sunday, the 25th day of February, the 16th day of Adar, Rishon. Torah portion, Sisa or Sisa. HaYom, Yom, Rishon, Shabbos, first thing on the fourth Shabbos. We learned the first Aliyah. Good morning. How was your Shabbos? Did you have a great Shabbos? Oh my God, sweet. Quiet, but great. Yeah, it was pretty fun. All right, thank you for that. All right. Got a lot to do, so let's get started. And we're let's make the bracha.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al mitzvat tzitzit.
All right, everyone together. Al divrei Torah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al divrei Torah.
Hareini Mekabel.
Hareini Mekabel alai mitzvat aseh shel ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. I take upon myself every single day to love my fellow friend in a very special way.
All right, Torah Tziva.
Baruch atah Adonai Hareini Mekabel alai mitzvat aseh shel ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha.
Ay Torah tziva lanu Moshe morasha keilat Yaakov. Torah tziva lanu Moshe morasha keilat Yaakov.
Now we give tzedakah.
I put it in the pushki, the tzedakah box. I put it in the pushki, the tzedakah box. I put it in the pushki for someone else to keep. Yeah, I put it in the pushki, the tzedakah box. I put it in the pushki, the tzedakah box. I put it in the pushki for someone else in need.
You have done a great job. And now take your right hand cover to your eyes as we say the Shema together.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
To breakfast. And I've got my coffee and I've got my yogurt. What do we have today? Ooh, lotus cookie. All right. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol nihiyah bidvaroi.
Coffee, blessed coffee. God bless you for being a friend. When the whole world turns on me, it's only you on which I can depend. I want to taste you in the morning and a few times throughout the day. Yes, a cup or two in the evening too. For me, it's the only way.
All right. Fantastic. And that takes us to today in Jewish history. 1 minute over here. I need to fix something up. All right. There we go. You know what? Let's do it this way. Yeah, let's do it this way. I think that's better. All right. All right, we'll have to see how to fix that. I think we'll have to do this afterwards. Yeah. Okay. Today in Jewish history is Sunday. And the Odysseus lunar lander, nicknamed Odie, has become the first U.S.-made spacecraft to touch down on the moon in 50 years. The uncrewed lander was upright and starting to send data, and it fell over. In order to pull off the difficult landing, the commercial spacecraft was designed to assess the lunar environment of the moon's south pole ahead of NASA's current plan to return a crewed mission there in late 2026. But yeah, it flopped over, and I don't know if they can recover from that. AT&T has resolved Thursday's massive service outage that left tens of thousands of people across the United States unable to place phone calls, text, or access the internet for nearly 12 hours. Customers also had trouble reaching emergency services, and at least one police department reported that its 911 line was briefly flooded with people dialing to see if their calls would go through from their cell phones. At one point, the outage affected more than 70,000 customers and raised many questions over whether malicious activity could have caused the issue. AT&T said in a statement Thursday evening that the outage was caused by the application and execution of an incorrect process used as we were expanding our network, not a cyber attack. So they're maintaining that it was indeed a software update that pushed them down the rabbit hole. It really was, people were panicking. They couldn't use their phones, and they were actually physically panicking because I don't know why. I could not tell you. It's very strange. Very strange. All right. Jewish investments. Stuyvesant countered himself. Stuyvesant contented himself with subjecting the Jews to indignities. He denied them the right to serve in the military and forced them to pay extra taxes. As for Peter Stuyvesant's refusal to allow a synagogue, history would take revenge. On that same date, in 1897, Rabbi Yitzchak Elchanan Theological Seminary was incorporated as America's first Jewish rabbinical seminary. The Rhode Island court refused to grant citizenship to Aaron Lopez and Isaac Eliezer, stating that no person who is not of the Christian religion can be admitted free to this colony. That was in 1762. Lopez was granted citizenship by Massachusetts, and the sentence upon the true faith of a Christian was excluded from the oath. Lopez was most likely the first Jew to be granted citizenship in Massachusetts. And yeshivas, we did that already. The ghetto pillars of Ferrara, Italy, were destroyed by the professors and students of the Athenaeum, which I don't know what that is. But that all happened today in Jewish history. And last night, C-Teen, the Chabad Teenage Youth Organization, took over Times Square. And all of this while the Rebbe smiled down on them from the view screens in Times Square, New York. I thought that was just absolutely wonderful. What a huge, huge Kiddush Hashem that was. Thank you to Chabad and C-Teen and all those wonderful people who organized this. All right. Having some broadcast difficulties over here. All right, I'm trying to get to the next HaYom over here. Here we go. HaYom for today.
היום הזה הוא זמן שמחתנו, שמע את התפילה שבליבנו, ותמחול את כל עוונותינו ביום הזה.
All right.
My son, who is all of 7 years old, is a very powerful person. That's because we went out to the store and bought him a big adult's snow shovel. Now, the reason that this tool makes him so powerful is not just because he can use it to move a lot of snow, but also because this shovel allows him to decide in the playground at school which of the children are included and which could potentially be excluded from the fun and games with the snow. And when we drive to school every morning, my son and I talk about this. And I try to remind my son every day that although Hashem really cares about the studies, the texts, the values that he learns in the classroom, Hashem cares even more about how he implements those values outside in the playground. Says today's HaYom. It's the Alter Rebbe talking, and he's talking about the construction of the Mishkan, the house for Hashem that the Jewish people built in the desert. And in order to construct the Mishkan, the Jewish people donated all sorts of very precious materials. There was a huge campaign, and people offered their gold, their silver, their copper. Now, at the very end of the campaign, the last donations to be made for the construction of the Mishkan were copper mirrors that were offered by the women. And the Alter Rebbe observes that although these mirrors were the last items to be donated to the construction, for the construction of the Mishkan, they were actually the first items to be used. How so? The mirrors were used to assemble the wash basin, the kior, that the Kohanim would use to wash their hands and feet before entering the Mishkan for service. So although the mirrors were donated last, the kior, which was assembled from these mirrors, was the first vessel to be used, because before the Kohen could even get into the Mishkan proper for the service, he had to first use the kior and its mirrors to prepare for the service by washing. Now, let's probe a little bit deeper for a moment. These copper mirrors were it's not just that they were, in the timeline, they were the last items to be donated to the Mishkan, but also conceptually, these mirrors were the last items that you would think ought to belong in a holy house built for Hashem. What's the background? What's the story behind these mirrors? Well, the women who donated these mirrors are now in the desert, but previously were in Egypt. And the Midrash tells us that the Jewish women used these mirrors for vanity. They would beautify themselves, and then when their husbands came home from a long, tiring day of slave labor, Egyptian slave labor, the women would use these mirrors to stimulate their husbands' physical desire, and as a result they would be intimate, have children, and build Jewish families. So the initial reaction when the Jewish women offered these mirrors for the construction of the Mishkan was, this is completely inappropriate. Why would we use these items of vanity to build a holy house for Hashem? But Hashem didn't see it that way. Hashem said, no, if these items of vanity were used for such a holy and higher purpose, then they should be at the forefront. These mirrors will be the first item to be used in the service at the Mishkan. You know, it's very easy to look holy when you're holding a siddur in your hands. But what about the playground in your life? The way you are at work, when you're on vacation, in your bedroom. Bring some holiness into the playground, and you will unleash the power of the most profound connection with Hashem that you can imagine.
All right. We are there. Fantastic. 60 Days of Simcha is up. Day 60.
Welcome to Mishanichnas Adar Marbim B'Simcha. Happy thoughts. So in Psalms, King David says, Yismach Yisrael B'Oisav. The Jewish people are happy with Hashem that created us. B'nai Tzion Yagilu B'Malkom. The children of Zion are going to have tremendous simcha with the Creator Hashem. So the Malbim explains the verse, and he says as follows: that when Yismach Yisrael B'Oisav, as we know in Psalms, King David says, Hu Asanu, Hashem made us. When we're happy, why are we happy? Because Hashem made us. Then, B'nai Tzion Yagilu. Yagilu is a higher level of simcha, a higher level of joy. Then we're going to have not just regular simcha, we're going to have consistent and new simcha. Why? Because Hashem is going to be with us. So by us be happy because Hashem created us, we will have constantly new simcha. Happy Chodesh Adar and continued Marbim B'Simcha.
All right. And that takes us to a word from our sponsors.
And now, a word from our sponsors. PestProRidall.com.
PestProRidall.com, trusted by the best to keep away the pests. We are offering COVID-19 disinfection services. Mention this ad and get 1 month free service. Visit us at PestProRidall.com.
Tarzane Group, micro, miniature, and small orchids. Go to tarzanegroup.com or call Tomas at 305-440-0565. That's 305-440-0565 and order today. Visit Tomas and Yair at tarzanegroup.com. Micro, miniature, and small orchids, beautiful in your home. Go to the website and read Tomas's orchid blog. And by Dina D Design. DinaDDesign at gmail.com. Fine artwork, custom made to your specifications, logos, wall hangings, Judaica, and you can even have something for your child's room. Dina D Designs. Go to her Facebook or Instagram or call or text. Thank you very much to our sponsors. If you'd like to become a sponsor, please go right up here to where it says patreon.com/theactorsrabbi, and you can contribute even only $1 a month if you'd like, but that'll help us bring this broadcast to you on a daily basis and cover our expenses. Be sure to thank your sponsors when shopping and mention Breakfast with Elli when you're shopping there. There might be discounts. Thanks for watching.
Torah, 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 Siva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Siva lanu Moshe.
All right, patreon.com/theactorsrabbi or breakfastwithelli.live/newcomputer. Boys and girls and others, we are really jonesing for that new computer. We need to get it up and running because this is kind of ridiculous. The way we've been operating. So if you could please pony up. Let us know. breakfastwithelli.live/newcomputer. We're looking for a big donor or a little donor. If you only have a buck, give a buck. If you have $10, give $10. If you have 1,000, dude, I'm here. And if you have the entire 6,000 that we need, even better. We will dedicate the entire program to you if you'd like. All right. Parshas Ki Sisa, which literally means when you will raise up. But in the context of our verse, the term is translated when you will count. Of all the parshas in the Torah, this one seems to be the most unlikely candidate for the name when you will raise up the heads of the children of Israel. For here we read of the most devastating spiritual descent in Jewish history. Just a few weeks after receiving the Torah directly from Hashem, as they are about to be given the 2 Luchos Habris, tablets of the covenant, the Jewish people rapidly sink into the decadence of idol worship. And as a result, the tablets are smashed. Now, this is hardly what you would describe as a raising of the heads of the Jewish people. Our sages have said about the Torah, Hafach ba v'hafach ba shekol ba. Learn it and learn it, for everything is in it. At first glance, this seems to mean that within the Torah as a whole, insights can be found in every area of life. However, at a deeper level, the statement that everything is in it could be applied to each and every idea in the Torah. Since Torah is the infinite wisdom of Hashem, it follows that each idea contains a truly unlimited amount of information, to the extent that Hakol ba, everything is in it. And if this is true for a single idea, certainly an entire parsha is macrocosmic. However, this phenomenon that everything is found in all the portions of the Torah is more obvious in some of our parshas than in others. Perhaps our parsha could claim to bring this idea to light more than all the others, since it discusses 3 fundamental aspects of Judaism. Revelation, Hashem gives Moshe the divinely inscribed first set of the Luchos, the tablets. Rebellion, the incident of the golden calf, and reconciliation by Moshe for the sin on behalf of the Jewish people, followed by the giving of the second tablets and climaxing with the shining of light through Moshe's face. Now, the scheme of history follows this sequence. Hold on one second. Okay. The scheme of history also follows this sequence. Torah, A, which is the revelation, preceded the world. The world was created, which concealed Hashem's presence. B, rebellion. And C, with the true and complete Geulah, redemption, through Mashiach, Hashem will finally be redeemed with his world and reconciled. The three phases are a crucial part of a larger whole. So even this middle stage of rebellion was ultimately intended by Hashem as a precursor to the reconciliation that was to follow. And that explains why the whole of our parsha, called Ki Tisa, raise the heads, for even of the darkest moments of Jewish history, those have been orchestrated by Hashem as a pathway to the Geula, where the ultimate Ki Sisa will take place. Very impressive. I'm telling you, I just love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah. All right. And that takes us to Chumash and Rashi with Rabbi Avtson. And here we go, part 1. All right. I need to get back to that screen. Just give me one moment. All right. And that takes us to Parsha Points IFD.
Parsha points ki Sisa for Sunday. Lucy asks Charlie Brown, "What is the purpose of life?" Charlie Brown says, "We are here to make other people happy." Lucy replies, "Well, I'm not happy. Someone isn't doing their job." We give half a shekel to remind us that we are the other half of someone else's life, the solution to their challenges. Yes, we are all only half. Think about how you can be someone else's puzzle piece, not just how Hashem or others can solve your issues.
All right. And Shnayim Yomi.
Kadosh, good morning. I wanted to share with you a beautiful idea on Parashat Kitisa, the first Aliyah. When Bnei Israel is told we have to take a consensus of the Jewish people, we are told by HaKadosh Baruch Hu that we have to take it with machatzita shekel. That's the medium to find out how many people do we have amongst Klal Yisrael. Rabbi Meir is brought down in the Yerushalmi, and Rashi quotes also the Midrash. Rabbi Meir says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu took from under the Kisei HaKavod a machatzita shekel of a fire. It was a matbea shel esh, a fire, in order to show him what are we referring to in order to give. And the question that we ask ourselves is, why couldn't it just be a regular coin? Why does it have to be a matbea shel esh, something of fire? So the Baal Shem Tov and also the Ktav Sofer, they both come and they say an incredible idea. The Baal Shem Tov gives a mashal that we're referring to a goldsmith that has an apprentice, and he's teaching him how to come and to make the gold. So the apprentice comes and he starts writing down the entire formula and all the steps, but he doesn't write down that you have to put the fire there, because that's the main part. That's the main ingredient. If you don't have fire, you can't mend and you can't do anything with the gold. So obviously, so he missed it. Says the Baal Shem Tov and the Ktav Sofer as well, when you come and you're giving, whether it's going to be tzedakah, you're giving the machatzita shekel, the giving is only half. The main thing, the ikar, the principle is what? The itlavut, the fire, the way that you're giving it. And that's the main part of how you're going to be giving the fire. Although there are many other teachings with what you can learn with also the fire. Another one is actually brought down by the Rav Chida. We know that ner le'echad ner le'mea. When you come and you want to light a candle, the way that you do it is you could take a candle, light another one, a third one, a fourth one, and it doesn't diminish the original candle. Meaning that the more that you continue lighting, the more that it is. The Torah or mitzvot are considered like candles or like a fire, which it doesn't diminish. And that's why when you have the concept, whether it's of Yisachar Zevulun, of learning with other people, or of sharing with the Torah study, you don't diminish with what you do. You continue going like a fire. Says the Rav Chida, tzedakah is the exact same way. When you give tzedakah, you don't diminish from yourself nothing. You actually gain. Says, how do you see that? The letters tzedakah, if you do atbash, which is basically if you take the aleph, you substitute it for a tav. You take a bet, you substitute it for the shin. You take the first and last letter of the alphabet, the aleph bet, and you substitute it. If you come and you take tzedakah, it actually works forwards, it's tzedakah, and backwards is tzedakah, which means that tzadi is the hey, dalid is the kuf, the tzadi is hey, dalid is the kuf, kuf is the dalid, and hey is the tzadi. You also have it tzedakah, showing you that you don't lack anything when you're giving tzedakah. And therefore, purposely was given us this concept of learning the fire in this machatzita shekel to teach you whenever you're going to give tzedakah, you will never ever lose out on giving tzedakah. Have a wonderful day.
All right, fantastic. Unfortunately, Rabbi Zilberstein did not get us a video this morning. I don't know why. I'm looking. Yeah. Yeah, no, he hasn't posted a video yet this morning, so we're going to have to skip him. But we do have time for Michael Kegel.
Can pure lust ever be truly pure? Whoa, wow, mi scusi, buon rabbino, but did you say lust? Yes, I asked whether pure lust can ever be truly, yes, truly pure. I thought so. I was just wondering, is this an appropriate subject for a nice rabbino to be discussing in public? Well, the Torah deals with everything important pertaining to human existence. Everything? Everything that God made, God has something to say about. Wow, 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 how charming, very refreshing. Can you give me an example where God says something about pure lust? Oh, scusa me, this word makes me a little bit blushing when the holy rabbi says it. First of all, I'm not holy, and let's assume that we're all more or less in the same boat, adrift in unholy waters, sailing toward holier seas. Refreshing, Rabbi, very refreshing. You asked for an example. In the book of Exodus, God instructs Moses to build a laver, a basin made of copper, for the Kohanim, the priests, to wash their hands and feet before engaging in the sacred services of the Mishkan. Ah, yes, yes, and this laver was made from the mirrors that the woman donated for the construction of the tabernacle, right? And Bezalel had made the laver from copper and its base from copper, from the mirrors of the women who had produced legions. Ah, la Bibbia Santo. I read one chapter every night before. Now, the need for clean hands and feet in the Mishkan, of course, was not just a matter of good hygiene. La purezza ed un passo alla devozione. Mamma mia. My mama always used to say this. Mamma mia too. Cleanliness is next to godliness. And that's just it. Good hygiene is the best symbol that we have for spiritual cleanliness or purity, for a state of spiritual existence which has been purified of physicality and sensuality. Rabino, your words. What? Sensuality? You make me to blush. So the copper laver, the Kior Nechoshet, was not simply a convenient washing station. It symbolized the need we all have to cleanse ourselves of the grubbier aspects of our corporeal existence before we enter our inner temple, our inner sanctum. This is, how you say, affascinante, very beautiful. But tell me, good Rabbi, I am perplexed. The laver, you say, symbolized purity, purification of the spirit. Yes, and yet this laver was made from the mirrors that the woman donated. The very same mirrors that the Jewish women in Egypt used to beautify themselves in order to become more attractive to their husbands. Hey, Rabino, you are teasing me. Attractive to their husbands, spiritual purity, how do these two things go together? You know, when the Jews were enslaved in Egypt, the work was backbreaking. The men used to come home broken and exhausted. Ah, there you go. They were exhausted. They had no energy for conjugal relations. Rabino, please. This is exactly the problem. The men were so physically drained by the slave labor that they had little strength and interest in sexual relations, which posed a very serious danger, the danger that the entire Jewish population would die out. Sexual reproduction, after all, has the function of reproduction, no? Yes, of course. This is a natural. So when the women used the mirrors to beautify themselves, it was for the holy, godly purpose of maintaining the population growth of the Jewish people. The people destined to be God's holy ministers to humanity. And this is why the woman donated the mirrors? Yes, precisely those household instruments used to engineer the passion of their husbands were donated for the construction of that appliance used to cleanse and purify the priests in their holy service in the holy sanctuary. Paradosso, paradox. It would be a paradox, yes, if the passion in question were that type of animal lust that we human animals sometimes allow ourselves to indulge in. But lust is always animalistic, no? Forgive me for this word, reverendo. Everything can be purified of raw animalism. Lust, lust can be pure, not pure lust, I mean pure lust. Oh, boy, you know what I mean, Rabino. God made everything, body, soul, the material, the spiritual. The body's not some devilish thing. The body, with all its lusts and passions and desires, was made as a precious, priceless vessel to bring holiness into this world. This vessel can certainly be used like a shovel for scooping up mud, but the same vessel, if cleansed and purified, can contain sacramental wine. So the sensual drive is like a sacramental wine? Absolutely. It can be, if it's treated like holy wine, and that's how every sensual drive should be treated and enjoyed. So long as there is no drinking and driving. The material origins of the laver teaches us that physical intimacy, purified lust, can not only be a holy thing, when treated with deep reverence, it can even assist us in purifying ourselves of our more excessive physical inclinations. Wow, wow, wow. May God bless such intimacy. And may such intimacy bless God.
All right. Fantastic. Oh, I absolutely love it. And that, of course, takes us now to the saying of Tehillim.
Al Yedei Amidas Tehillim, the Al Yedei Amidas Tehillim, the Al Yedei Amidas
Tehillim. Power that lies in the verses of Tehillim and their effect on the celestial heights. You would recite them all the time. You should know that the chapters of Tehillim break through all barriers and soar aloft from level to level. So, whenever you have a chance, say some Tehillim. Here at Breakfast with Elli, we are going to say chapters 23 and chapter 122 today in honor of the captives and in honor of the Lubavitcher Rebbe. So chapters 23 and chapter 122. Let's go. breakfastwithelli.live/new computer.
Adonai ro'i lo echsar binus teshe yarbitzeni al mimnuchos yinahaleni nafshi shovev yancheni v'magli tzedek leman shemo kam kilech begetz al moves oirara ki ata imadi shivtecha umishantecha hema yenachamuni Taruch lefanai shulchan neged zorerai Tishanta vashemen roshi kosi levaya ach tov v'chesed yirdefuni kol yemei chayai v'shavti b'vis Adonai le'orech yamim.
Shamala Yisrael v'samachti v'yim nimli v'salino yinei oyim and Isa Yudal Leinu b'shara Yerushalayim Yerushalayim Habenuya ki shechura la yachdav sheshamu shatim shiftei ha'edus l'Yisrael lehoyda Yisrael sheyim aleinu Shama yashavu chisais v'mishvat kisais levayis David shalu shalayim Yerushalayim yishvayu oyhavayich ahai Yerushalayim michayleich shava v'ayvena yisayich ahai
Tanya.
All right, we're doing Tanya for today, the 16th day of Adar.
Tanya thoughts for the 16th of Adar. Have you ever asked yourself, what is the point of all of this? Day after day, I slog away to define my animal soul just to have it come roaring back to the same battles again and again. No matter how often I succeed in repelling it, it seems like I'm making no progress. I'm just as frustrated every single day. It seems cruel. I mean, my body, okay, but my poor godly soul to be integrated with this brutish animal soul? It feels pointless. The Tanya reminds us that the mitzvah actions are what fuel the divine presence, and that's what keeps it here where Hashem wants it to be. You're not feeling it? Tanya says, I get it. Know ye that Hashem is feeling it every time you do a mitzvah.
Let's talk Tanya for the 16th day of the first Adar. So today we begin chapter 30, and we're in the middle of the larger topic of Timtum Halev, how to deal with emotional unresponsiveness, numbness, an inability to generate emotions, excitement, feeling for holy endeavors, for God, for Torah, mitzvahs, Judaism, etc. And in the previous chapter, chapter 29, we took a deep plunge, you might want to say an unpleasant plunge, into our lowliness, our association with the God, with the animal soul, our past indiscretions, etc. In this chapter, chapter 30, the Alter Rebbe is going to take a little of a different approach. Again, we're still on the topic of crushing the ego, but this chapter apparently is coming to address what seems to be a flaw in the efficacy of the method discussed in the previous chapter, which is, in the previous chapter, we were talking about our lowliness. That's great. I'm lowly. But you know what? I'm lowly, but so is everyone else around me. Everyone else around me also, their identity is also that of the animal soul. People around me also, they've made mistakes. In fact, as lowly as I am familiar with many people, lowlifes, who are much lower than me. So how effective is the ego crushing going to be, talking about my lowliness, if that's a condition that's pretty much universally shared? For better or for worse, we tend to judge and to evaluate, to assess ourselves based on how we are relative to the people around us. And if I'm just part of the gang, I'm part of the crew, everyone is just like me, how crushing is that going to be to my ego to say, hello, you're a human being, and that comes along with the lowliness, which is there for every human being. So in today's Tanya, in this chapter, which is going to take us quite a few days to cover, the Alter Rebbe is going to come and to counter that and say, based on a teaching in the Mishnah tells us, Veheve shfal ruach b'fnei kol ha'adam, which means that one is supposed to have a lowly spirit before every other person. Or in simple words, that means I'm supposed to be humble before everyone, which means I look up at everyone. I do not consider myself to be better than or superior to any other person in this world. Now, that's a Mishnah in Pirkei Avos. Many of us have learned that Mishnah in the Ethics of Our Fathers. We learn it in the summer, and we learn it, and we nod our heads. We're like, yeah, we're supposed to be humble before every person. We're not supposed to look down at anyone. And then automatically we make some assumptions in our head. Well, does that mean actually I'm supposed to consider myself to be inferior to every other person? Probably not. It probably means that I should behave in that way. I should behave in a humble fashion. And does it mean every single person, even that person, that lowly person? Probably doesn't apply to that person. The Alter Rebbe says no. When the Mishnah says that we have to look at ourselves as humble before every person, look up at every person, and not condescend or look down at anyone, it means every single person. And it's not only about a behavior, it's truly the way we're supposed to feel in our interactions with other people. Now, how is that possible? Objectively, it would seem that there are people who are a lot lowlier than I am. So to understand this, the Alter Rebbe will introduce another teaching of our sages, also on Pirkei Avos. Our sages tell us, which means do not judge your fellow until you have arrived in his or her place. Which means that everyone has unique life experiences. Everyone has a unique past. We don't know what kind of tests other people encounter, either by virtue of their interactions and because of their life circumstances. The example that Rebbe gives is of another person who their work is in the middle of the city. They're Times Square. That's where their work is, and they're there. Their eyes see, their heart desires. So some people, their circumstance caused them to have more tests than other people. That's number one. And number two, there's the personality. Not everyone's Yetzer Hara, not everyone's evil inclination is the same. Some people have more passionate natures, and they're more prone to desires than others. So I can't judge another person. Yes, I see that another person has failed, but I have no idea what I would do if I was in that person's position, because I don't share that person's life circumstances, and I also don't share that person's unique and individual temperament. So therefore, I can't judge that person. I can't look down at that person. Now, does this mean that we're actually excusing the other person? I see another person, the other person is doing a sin, doing something highly inappropriate, and I'm supposed to say, well, considering that person's circumstances and considering that person, their life experience and the various traumas that they have, what can I say? They couldn't have done otherwise. They're excused. Is that what the Alter Rebbe is saying over here? We'll find out the answer to that question in tomorrow's Tanya.
Thank you for joining Tanya in 5. Today's lesson for the 16th of Adar, we begin chapter 35. In one word, la Sisa, to do it, this chapter. We have, in a way, come full circle in a sense that everything that we need has been taught to us, and how the title page, that this is very near a relationship with God, very near to us. How? In our speech, in our heart, to do. What does it mean to do? So we've explained to do, that the heart rather brings the heart to do. So it can mean that you understand the greatness of God and therefore brings you to action. It can mean that it brings you to the heart, meaning the inherent love that we have, the Ava Mesuteres, the hidden love that's in the soul of every Jew, that when we reveal that will bring us to do, meaning that the love and awe of God is ultimately there as a means to an end, that we should do the mitzvah. That's the most important thing. And now the Alter Rebbe wants to elucidate further this term, la Sisa, to do it, in the title page, and that we need to also understand, at least in a small measure, what is the purpose of the Beinoni? Why was he created, this intermediate individual? In other words, the descent of the person's, the Beinoni soul into this world, is one that is clothed within the animal soul. The animal soul, as we learned, that's derived from Klipa and Siter Acher. Now, as a result, he's not going to the Beinoni, since he's not able to banish the animal soul from within his midst. It will always be lodged within the left ventricle of the heart, and meaning that it's not going to be transformed as it is by a righteous person, and as it will always, then he will always have the struggle of the animal soul in the left part of the heart, that will always come to his mind, to thoughts that are from Klipa Sitra, from the negative side. Why then was he created? In other words, you could say that maybe he was created in order that he could wage battle with his animal soul and always be victorious, and which the Beinoni is. However, since the godly soul is enclosed in the animal soul, it's not enough. Then it's not like two separate souls that need to fight, and always the godly soul should win over the animal soul. But it must mean that it's enclosed, that it has to actually change it. But it's not going to be changed. So why would his soul come down in vain to wage this war when he's never ever going to be able to change him? So the Alter Rebbe says, let the Beinoni have solace and comfort, and doubly and helpfully and helpfully, that will gladden his heart in the service of God, who dwells in him by the divine service and the Torah that he studies. And this will be done by first prefacing the Yenuka that is quoted in the Zohar. The Yenuka, a small child that's quoted in the Zohar. On the verse it says, let the wise man's eyes, are in his head. The Zohar asks the question, well, where else should eyes be, but not in if not in your head. So the interpretation the Zohar says on this verse is that a person should not walk 4 cubits without their head being covered. Why? Because the Shekhinah, the divine presence, rests on the head of the individual, and hence a wise person, his eyes, meaning his concern, is on his head, that the light of God, the Shekhinah, should always be on his head. How will the light of God shine always upon his head? Because light, to produce it, you need oil. So the Zohar continues and explains that the body of the person is like the wick, just like as a wick is a conduit for the light. Likewise, the body is the conduit for the Shekhinah, the divine presence of God, and it has to have a fuel source in order to create that light. Oil. And what is the oil? The oil is the good deeds that a person does. And this is the meaning of the phrase then, well, the wise man's eyes are in his head, meaning the wise man is always concerned that the light of God should be over his head, and he's always looking to make sure that he has good deeds, that the light of God should always be upon him, dwelling upon him. And that is the end of the quotation of the Zohar. To be continued. Thank you for joining Tanya in 5.
All right. And that takes us to Sefer HaMitzvahs of the Rambam.
No, it's not impossible that ever did say, just study Rambam each and every day. I'll never miss my daily Rambam. My Rebbe so desires, I'm not busy or too tired. When I learn Rambam's connected, I remain, I am a link in the Rebbe's golden chain.
All right, fantastic. Sorry about that, just clarifying something there online. And here's Rabbi Taub, Mitzvah Minute number 309.
Baruch Hashem, it is day number 309 of our daily study of Rambam Sefer Mitzvahs. And in the 3 chapters a day study track of Mishnah Torah Mazel Tov, we finally are finishing Hilchos Tayin V'Niton. And we're starting a new section of halacha, which I'll introduce shortly, God willing. Positive Commandment 246, you know this. We've done this for many, many days. This is corresponding to the laws of claimants and litigants. Positive Commandment 246 is the laws of claims, that it's a mitzvah to bring these cases to the rabbinic court to be adjudicated. And I'm not going to elaborate upon that because we've studied this for many days. Okay. Positive Commandment 248 corresponds to what? The new section of halacha that we are starting now, Hilchos Nachalois, laws of inheritance. Laws of inheritance. And the laws of inheritance is the last section in Sefer Mishpatim. Sefer Mishpatim, the book of judgments, is the penultimate book of Mishnah Torah. And I told you that because I wanted to use the word penultimate. The 14th book is Sefer Shoftim, which we will get to right after we finish the Hilchos Nachlos, the laws of inheritance. Okay, so corresponding to the laws of inheritance, we have today Positive Commandment 248, which is the mitzvah of following the Torah's laws regarding inheritance. It's one mitzvah. I'm going to give you a heads up right now. It's the same mitzvah that we're going to be learning every day that we are going through, that the 3 chapters a day of Mishnah Torah study track is going through the laws of inheritance. So you're going to hear the same mitzvah on repeat for several days, and I'll tell you more about it, God willing, each day. We'll see you for more tomorrow, God willing.
The 13th book of the Rambam, which we've been studying now for the last 2-3 weeks, is called Mishpatim and details all the laws relating to fights between people that don't begin with damage. For example, hired worker issues, watchman issues, loan issues, claims and counterclaims in court. Today we begin the final subject of laws in this book, another type of monetary dispute that could arise without being started by a damage, and that is inheritance. Positive Mitzvah 248 tells us that the Jewish courts must follow all the procedures described in the Torah when it comes to dividing a dead person's estate, which relatives must get it, how much each relative gets, etc., as we'll discuss in the coming days.
All right. Matters of Moshiach.
והוא גואלנו, והוא גואלנו, והוא גואלנו, משיח צדקנו, הרבי מלובביץ' מלך המשיח, הרבי מלובביץ'.
All right. Raya Naaman, the faithful shepherd. Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses our leader, and by extension every Jewish leader, is known as Raya Mehemna, a faithful shepherd. Aside from that simple meaning, the Zohar explains that Moshe shepherds our faith, sustaining and strengthening our faith in Hashem, as does the Moshe in every generation. The role of a Jewish leader is most prominent in Galut, in exile, when the Jewish people need the most fortitude through revealing the depth of our spiritual fortitude. We break free of exile and can march to the Geula.
Moshe and Aaron, Moses and Aaron had two separate missions completely. Moshe's job was to bring godliness downwards to this world. And Aaron's job was to bring the Yidden, the Jewish people, up to Hashem, to the godly level. So they were coming from two different directions. Moshe went up to Har Sinai, to Mount Sinai, and learned the secrets of Torah and learned all the godly details, and helped teach the Jewish people, helped bring that knowledge down to the Yidden, the Jewish people. Aaron served in the tabernacle, in the Mishkan, and did all the services involved there, elevating and purifying the world and the Jewish people to bring them up to a higher level. So we see the two levels of Aaron and Moshe.
It seems simple, right? Okay, we like simple. Simple is good. And now, our PSAs.
Hello guys. Mosby of Queens here. We want to thank Manny Sherwood for all this soup mix that's going to be given out to the community. Thank you so
If you live in Rockland County, it's tomcheshabbos.org. In Lakewood, it's tomche.org. In Chicago, it's breakfastwitheli.live/Chicago Food Bank. Achiezer.org for all your other needs, whether physical, spiritual, mental, financial, whatever it is you need, they have the answer and can help you find an answer if you need it. Just one shop there to help bring our youth back to the beauty of keeping Shabbos one Shabbos at a time. If you know someone who's strayed a little from the path, they're the people to call. Hatzalah EMS with their Global Assist app available on the iOS and Android stores. Pick it up today and put it on your home screen. If you are God forbid, a hate crime in progress, call 911, and Miss Oskim in times of bereavement is there to help you out. When you're out and about, it would be really cool if you would wear a mask.
Wear a
Mask, wear a mask. Is this really much to ask? Tie some fabric round your face. Oh, it's the simplest of tasks. At the gym, at the store. Don't treat it like such a chore.
All right. All right. Get your vaccinations. And for crying out loud, do me a favor. Let's bring some heaven down to earth. So, here's a question. Why did a God of infinite wisdom make a world as fractured as our own? Why did a God of infinite kindness design creatures so prone to failure as we, the human being? Well, the simple answer is so that he could share with us his deepest wisdom. What wisdom is that? Tikkun Olam, the wisdom to fix a broken world. Think about that. That's pretty cool. Our job, if you want to discuss more, come to me on social media at any of the Actors Rabbi groups, at Clubhouse, Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, WhatsApp, the Actors Rabbi. Baruch ato Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam boirei nefashos rabois v'chesronan al kol ma sheborasa lachayos bohem nefesh kol chai baruch chai ha'olamim. Wow, can you believe it? Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to my Patreon sponsors, Passport, Peterman, Avi. Wow, guys, you are amazing. Go to patreon.com/theactorsrabbi if you'd like to become a partner in bringing Torah around the world. And we are on a campaign to get a new computer. Our computer it's leaving us, and I don't want to be left without a computer. It's old. It is short on memory. It's short on processor speed. Our software keeps getting bigger and better, and that requires a bigger and better computer as we go along. Looking for an M3 Mac. So if you'd like to contribute to that, go to breakfastwithelli.live, breakfastwithelli.live/new computer, breakfastwithelli.live, new computer, and contribute today. That would be a great, great thing. So please, yes, breakfastwithelli.live/new computer or patreon.com/theactorsrabbi and help us out. All right. We've got Mendy Ward today. He's got a new album coming out, and we've got an album teaser. I know you guys like those, so that's why I'm playing that for you today. All right. In the words of Rev Isaac Kamler, have affection for a fellow. Hashem will have affection for you. Do a kindness for a fellow. Hashem will do a kindness for you. Draw a fellow close, and Hashem will draw you close to him. It is Sunday, the beginning of a new week, a new Parsha. Go out and do something nice, something good for someone today. Be the reason someone smiles. Have a great and glorious day, and we will see you, God willing, tomorrow. Mwah.
Mamish at the end. The very, very end. Mamish at the end. The very, very end. Mamish at the end. The very So do our best to be an ehrliche Jid. Jedem seinen Teier, jedem seinen Git. Lass mir alle Tage sein an ehrliche Jid. Oh, jedem seinen Teier, jedem seinen Git. Lass mir alle Tage sein an ehrliche Jid. in the power of Teshuvah. Believe, brother, believe. It's so easy to return. Believe, brother, believe in the power of Teshuvah. Believe, brother, believe. It's so easy to return. Hey! Rebbe, Rebbe, tell me, Rebbe, Rebbe, show me. Was is the tachlis of the Welt? Rebbe, Rebbe, tell me, Rebbe, Rebbe, show me. Was is the tachlis of the Welt? Sie lernen die Teure, danken den Teure. In Zedina Teure, fahr noch Hayi. Sie lernen die Teure, danken den Teure. In Zedina Teure, fahr noch Hayi.
The light that shines
sof and sof.